Hey there, everybody. Today is September 10th, 2018. My name is Derek. I own and operate a website called www.gematrinator.com. This language of Gematria, the practice of coding numbers into words, is what's used to script out not only our mainstream media news, but as you will see in this video, also our professional sports leagues, all part of the same Judeo-Masonic tree of propaganda that's being used to control the minds of the masses in this country. So on the screen, what you're looking at here are the four base ciphers. This practice of Gematria, which is a huge component of numerology that's largely hidden from the public, is actually very, very simple. We start with the alphabetic order in the top left of your screen. This numbers the alphabet 1 through 26, each letter numbered relative to its position in the alphabet. The reduction method then uses the rules of numerology to reduce each double-digit number to a single digit. Both methods can then be reversed, giving us ciphers called reverse ordinal and reverse full reduction. So you may be thinking, well, there's so many numbers up on the screen here, you can do anything with numbers. I assure you, I use the same measurement techniques and Gematria ciphers in all of my work. These are essentially the base 6. We also have English and Jewish Gematria on the screen. The English extended method actually very closely mirrors the ancient Hebrew Gematria chart, whereas the Jewish cipher uses the Latin alphabetic order, with the more modern English characters placed at the end. So with that instructional aside, let's dive into the numbers and talk about what really happened last night on Sunday Night Football when the Packers overcame a 17-point deficit to beat the Chicago Bears. Now, down in the description below, I have a link to a video from a guy named Dan Barrett, who also does terrific work on this subject. And he had been picking up on the fact that there was this theme going on with the War of 1812. Now, think about what's happening in the NFL right now. A lot of people are boycotting the games because of what Colin Kaepernick has done. He started this whole movement where he began kneeling for the national anthem. That all began a couple years ago, back in August, in a game against the Green Bay Packers. And all Colin Kaepernick is doing is fulfilling his contractual obligation to be a divisive piece of human propaganda. He's not really taking a stand for his rights. He doesn't really truly believe in what he's doing. He's doing it for the money. And let me explain to you how Gematria dictates who is being chosen for these rituals. Colin Kaepernick's full name is Colin Rand Kaepernick. Now, in Jewish Gematria, a cipher which I often claim to be the most significant, mainly because it produces some of the largest numbers out of any of these ciphers on your screen, the name Colin Rand Kaepernick sums to 470 in this cipher. And he's been going to battle with Trump. Trump also sums to 470 in this cipher. And the reason they're going at it is because he was kneeling. The word kneel has Gematria of 47. In numerology, 47, 470 technically reflect the same numbers. So if you reverse the alphabetic order, where Z is 1, Y is 2, all the way through A is 26, we find that the word kneel equals 88, and this number is in both of these men's names as well. The name Trump equals 88 using the alphabetic order. Notice the 47 in reverse. The name Colin Kaepernick also sums to 88 using the reverse reduction method. And of course there's more. The Star-Spangled Banner, the song that he kneeled during, this has Gematria of 88. In the alphabetic order, it sums to 223. The name Kaepernick equals 223. And now in this video, we're going to talk about how the play with Randall Cobb, whose name also sums to 223, was a ritual related to the War of 1812. And if you're wondering, what does the Star-Spangled Banner have to do with the War of 1812? Well, the song was actually written during the War of 1812 in Maryland. So this theme is very strong. And think about how the fact that the very first NFL game of the season, the one that kicked it off on Thursday night between the Philadelphia Eagles and the Atlanta Falcons, finished with a score of 18-12. And mind you, this was after Dan was talking about the fact that, the shooting in Jacksonville at a Madden tournament. Of course, Jacksonville is an NFL city, Madden, the NFL football game. He pointed out that the shooting was a ritual in relation to the War of 1812. The War of 1812, the final battle was the Battle of New Orleans. The Americans in that battle were led by Andrew Jackson, who would become a president about a decade or two later. And, of course, the shooting was in Jacksonville. A lot more synchronicities took place here. But here I'm going to talk about how the Battle of New Orleans was a numeric tribute of this game. So the Battle of New Orleans took place on January 8th, 1815. This date is written here in the United States as 1/8, a lot like the number 18. Of course, Randall Cobb wears the number 18, and the man who threw him the pass to end the game was Aaron Rodgers, who wears number 12, 18 and 12 once again. But there's more about this number 18 that's significant to this war. Check out how the war started on June 18th of 1812. When you write out 1812, in Gematria, it sums to 218 reverse. The date 218 is February 18th, and that's the date the War of 1812 ended, again on the 18th of the month. In this game, the Packers defeated the Bears. Bears has reduction gematria of 18. Now, if you add every number up 1 through 18, this is called the 18th triangular number, you get the sum of 171. And the Bears' quarterback in this game, Mitchell Trubisky, had 171 passing yards. And if you're thinking it's crazy that even the stats are coded by this system, let me assure you that's absolutely the case. In fact, Aaron Rodgers finished the game with 286 yards passing. Both New Orleans, Louisiana has a gematria value of 286 in the reverse alphabetic order. In extended gematria, War of 1812 equals 2086. So this number technically appearing twice, and of course that's the number of passing yards Aaron Rodgers has to end the game. But looking back at the number 18, Randall Cobb, number 18, had celebrated his birthday 18 days before this game. This language of letters and numbers used alongside dates on the calendar to craft these rituals. And if you actually watch the play closely, I'm not going to air video of it on this channel for risk of getting taken down, but notice how Aaron Rodgers had his back foot on the 18-yard line when he threw this pass. When Randall Cobb caught it, he was at the 36, meaning he threw the ball for 18 yards in the air. When Cobb caught it and turned upfield, check out how much time was on the clock. 2 minutes and 23 seconds. Remember, this is a number we were just talking about. War of 1812, 223. Randall Cobb in Jewish gematria, summing to 223. Meanwhile, Aaron Rodgers, who threw the pass, he celebrates his birthday on December 2nd, which means this game was 2 months and 23 days before his upcoming birthday, another 223. So Randall Cobb being the hero of the game, winning the game for the Packers. In the Battle of New Orleans, it was Major General Andrew Jackson who led the Americans to victory over the British. Again, this was the last major battle of the war, and it led to the end just about a month later. Well, if you measure from the birth dates of Andrew Jackson to Randall Cobb, you find it's a little over 223 years, that same number once again. Measuring from their birthdays, we find it's 160 days between March 15th, the birthday of Andrew Jackson, and August 22nd, which is Randall Cobb's birthday. Using the alphabetic order, 1812 equals 160. Also notice 1909 in Jewish Gematria. Randall Cobb born in 1990 with that 199 sequence. But forget that. Check out the Gematria of their names. In the reverse alphabetic order, Randall Cobb sums to 213. This is the same in the same cipher as the name Andrew Jackson, 213. This touchdown that the Packers scored, the ball was snapped from their own 25-yard line, meaning the play went for 75 yards. 75 yards equals 213 in Gematria. And look at what time the clock stopped at when the touchdown was scored. 2 minutes and 13 seconds. And if you're starting to wonder that this is too many coincidences to really believe what's going on in this game, now you're finally catching on. And then pay attention to also who ran into the end zone right alongside Randall Cobb. Number 18, you turn that number around, it's number 81. There's number 81, Geronimo Allison. And just, I should have said this earlier on, but for anyone who thinks I'm an angry Bears fan calling this game rigged, please understand, I live in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I grew up a hardcore, diehard Packers fan. And, you know, I got old Packer jerseys in my closet. I got all sorts of hats. A few years ago, especially during Super Bowl 50 when Cam Newton jumped away from the football, that's when everything really clicked and I realized that this whole thing is just a theatrical presentation. So Cobb scores the touchdown, making the game 23-23. 23-23, huh? The War of 1812 ended on February 18th, 1815. Measuring to the date of the game, it was exactly 203 years and 203 days, a lot like 23-23. In fact, Aaron Rodgers was 20 of 30 passing in the game. Here's his stat line right there, 20 of 30 for 286 yards, a number which I explained earlier. So when we write out the number 18, the number that's been attributed so heavily throughout this ritual, 18 has a gematria value of 46 in reduction. Of course, 23 plus 23 equals 46. This game was played at Lambeau Field, 46. Between the Packers and Bears, Packers-Bears equals 46. Also, the 46th prime number, 199. Again, Randall Cobb, born in 1990, a number which reflects 199. And what you find with star players is all too often they have matching gematria with their team. So when you type out Randall Cobb, notice these other values. We talked about the 223, the 213, how those were scripted into the play. Notice how his name also sums to 84 and then 69 in reverse reduction. Green Bay Packers equals 84 and 69 in these methods. The Green Bay Packers also summing to 84 in reduction, which matches Randall Cobb's full name, Randall LaDonald Cobb II, also 84. Aaron Rodgers, who was a major part of this riddle, coming back from injury, leading the team to victory in the fourth quarter. He was 84 days before his next birthday. Measuring instead from his last birthday, we find it's 9 months and 7 days. War of 1812 equals 97. And this was Aaron Rodgers' biggest fourth quarter comeback of his career, which also sums to 97. Maybe a stretch on that one? I'm not so sure. Now, to wrap this up, the final score of this game also very significant. We mentioned how the game was tied 23-23 after Cobb's touchdown. The word circle has gematria of 23 in two different reduction ciphers. And the reason this is interesting for this case is because the final score was 24-23. 2,423 is a prime number. In fact, it's the 360th prime number. And think about how there's 360 degrees in a circle. Using the alphabetic order, 360 equals 227. Again, this all attribute to the Battle of New Orleans, Louisiana, sums to 227 in the alphabetic order. And this number is very significant for circles. It's because if you divide 22 by 7, you get the first three digits of pi, 3.14. And in this language of gematria, which is geometry within the language, 22 divided by 7 has an ordinal value of 314, like the first three digits of pi. And if you're on a Windows keyboard, go ahead and try it out. Alt-227 gives you the pi symbol. Certainly no mistake there. Remember, gematria is geometry within the language. Geometry, a word that sums to the same value forwards and backwards. 108 forwards, 108 reverse. This all based off of the geometry of the galaxy. Full moon also has gematria, 108 forwards and backwards. They say the sun is 108 times the width of the earth and 108 times its own diameter from the earth. Similarly, the moon, 108 times its diameter from the earth. So it's all about mathematics of the circle, geometry within the language, and dates on the calendar. All right, everybody, so that's going to do it for this quick stream. Thanks for everybody who dropped in the chat and put in some more information for everyone. It's time to wake up to these silly sports leagues. It's all just mass mind control. These upper elite classes, the wealthy people who own these leagues, they are out to divide the lower classes and keep us bickering so we don't look up, see this knowledge, and learn what's really happening in this country. All right, everyone, that'll do it. Keep seeking and speaking that truth. Adios.